my biggest issue with this was if you decide that you want to push for an 8-team playoff and you are a power broker in college football, how would you decide to make a decision about that you were going to announce your pursuit of an 8-team playoff? I probably would talk to people with the biggest possible audiences in the world of sports. I might talk to somebody at Fox Sports. I might talk to somebody at ESPN. I would want to get on television, and I would start, beyond a shadow of a doubt, my campaign for an 8-team playoff by, at bare minimum, getting on to Twitter and saying, hey, I'm in favor of an 8-team playoff. I think it would make college football better. Let's do it. Instead, some of these college football playoff brokers decided to tell The Athletic, a small paywall-built website, that they were in favor of an 8-team playoff, and nobody even read it, and it got very little attention in the grand scheme of things. And then the Athletic people got mad at me because I said the college football power brokers were idiots for choosing to distribute their opinion that way. You could have gone on my radio show. You could have gone on Paul Feinbaum's radio show. You could have gone on Colin Cowherd. You probably could have gone on in the middle of the day on ESPN on a Wednesday when there's nothing else going on and made it a huge deal and spent all day doing media all over television to make the argument for why an 8-team playoff makes sense. Instead, you decide to talk to The Athletic. Now, look, I don't have anything against The Athletic. More power to them. I'm in favor of all sports media companies making as much money as possible, because when people look at my books and they say, oh, Clay Travis has got a multi-million-dollar business and it's very profitable and he runs it out of his house, it makes me look really good for valuation purposes. So I want every sports media company to exist and to thrive. But this is not the way that the college football power brokers should have made the decision to announce if they want to aggressively pursue an 8-team playoff. They shouldn't have done it in this manner. Moreover, The Athletic has turned into a cult. And what they have done is they have paid a lot of people who otherwise would make not very much money a little bit more money than they're currently making. And as a result, The Athletic writers, if you say anything to question their business model, like, hey, I don't know if there's that many people who want to pay for premium sports writing on the internet, they get triggered by it. They're like, we're insanely successful. No, you aren't. Right now, your business is successful at raising money and giving the money you raised to other people to work. You're not successful at making money. Maybe The Athletic is going to be successful. Maybe there's a huge market for people out there who want to pay for online sports writing. I tend to question whether that is true, because for the most part, what has succeeded in subscription models in the world of media is incredibly good offerings. Let me give you a few examples. HBO works. Do you know why HBO works? Because they have Game of Thrones, and I can't get it, Game of Thrones, and I can't get it anywhere else. Netflix works. Do you know why Netflix works? Because they create compelling original content that I can't find anywhere else. The WWE works. Do you know why the WWE works? Because tons of people want to go out and make sure that they get to watch WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble and everything else. A lot of people do not subscribe. UFC works because lots of people want to pay for the top fights on pay-per-view. What typically doesn't work as well in the subscription business is talking about things that people already like. Okay? That's my thesis in general. The WWE works. Somebody writing about the WWE that you would pay for does not work. The UFC works. Somebody writing about the UFC that you would pay for does not work. DAZN may work because they have compelling original content. My thesis in general is that there isn't that much demand for more sports media that people pay for. That's my thesis. And that's why I'm skeptical of the success of The Athletic in general. It's why I wouldn't invest in it personally. If they came to me and said, hey, Clay Travis, will you take the money that you're making at OutKick and put it into The Athletic, my answer would be no. I'd be much better off to risk my own money, go out and hire a bunch of people at OutKick, increase our revenue substantially, increase our site traffic substantially. The challenge there is the advertising market is not so substantial, and I don't necessarily buy into it as a great business at scale. I think it works for individual talent. I'm giving you that background for this reason. It's not being a hater to say that. It's being a realist who has a really substantial knowledge of what works in the online sports media space. And so I believe people will pay for compelling original content. I don't believe necessarily they're going to pay for compelling content that is based on somebody else's original content. In other words, is there anybody who makes money selling articles about Game of Thrones and making people pay for them? No. People pay for George R.R. Martin's books. They pay for Game of Thrones. They don't pay in general for commentary about something else that they really love. That's my thesis, okay? Here is the other thing I would say about The Athletic in general. If you have what you consider to be a big scoop, you ought to take down the paywall and allow people to sample your product instead of keeping something behind the paywall. When the New York Times or the Washington Post or somebody like that breaks a big news story, they will take down their paywall and let everybody read because they think it's important for their business to distribute all of that content and get as many eyeballs on it as they possibly can. I don't understand why, first of all, somebody would go to The Athletic to break news. This would be like if I decided to run for governor, me going to Rivals and saying, hey, can you guys break the news about me running for governor on your website? And by the way, the only subscription model that has worked in the world of sports media so far is based on college football recruiting. Because the only thing that people will pay for in the world of college sports so far, 24/7, Rivals, and Scout, is if you can give them news about recruiting that they're not going to get elsewhere. That to me is business. And so, in general, my advice, and there's a lot of people out there who are in business school or they're listening to me and they're intrigued by business. I love business. Is you got to find something that's your secret sauce.